Hello science teachers, welcome to Eden Hope Academy Cycle 1, Week 5, and we're talking about the parts of an egg. Now this is probably my very favorite point in science that we get to talk about every 5 years, and so I really hope that you will convey all of these things to your children. Now we raise chickens. Let me get some of our eggs. Hello Eden Hope Academy Science teachers. We are on Cycle 1, Week 5, and we're talking about the egg. I really hope that you'll spend some time describing an egg and all of the components, but more so, I hope that you spend time explaining to the children the amazing qualities that God put into chickens and their eggs. And you can only say that a creative, intelligent God did this. It seems very unlikely that this would have evolved. So as chicken people, we have aracunas. These are from Peru, and we have some chickens from England. They lay these light brown eggs, and then we have these chickens that lay kind of a green egg, and then we have chickens that lay white eggs. So, oops, and that's dirty. So we've got a whole variety of chickens, and one of the things that I think is the most fascinating of the qualities of a chicken and their eggs is called stasis. And that means that a chicken lays an egg on day 1, and then they lay an egg again in the same nest day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9, 10. They keep on laying eggs in a nest, and somewhere along the line, up to 21 days of laying, they will sit on their eggs. Now, a chicken's body produces the exact amount of moisture and the exact temperature of heat to incubate these eggs. And what's amazing to me is that the eggs stay in stasis from day 1 till up to day 21 and don't change. And then on day 21, if the mother chicken starts to sit on them, then they start growing into a baby chick. It's pretty fascinating. Now remember, think that through. Don't you think the egg that was laid on day 1 should hatch 21 days before the egg that was laid on the 21st day? It doesn't. Think about the reasons that it doesn't. If they all hatched one day at a time, then the mother chicken wouldn't be able to both lay on her eggs and take care of her baby chicks. Taking care of baby chicks is hard work. They're constantly under her wings. She's constantly showing them what to do, where to go, how to get their food, all of that type of stuff. Mother henning is not for the faint of heart. It's really a big deal. And so she couldn't do both at the same time. And so by keeping the eggs in stasis, they can just stay there ready to go, totally fresh, until they're ready to be sat on by the mother hen. Now that also means that, like us, we can just keep our eggs out on the counter if we're going to eat them in a week or two, because we know they're not going to change, because they've got that long window of time before they start to go bad. And so what we've done in the past is have each child have a petri dish and dissect an egg. But there are many egg allergies now, so we're only going to have the teacher do this. So as a teacher, make sure that the children do not touch the eggs. So what you do is you're going to show them the outside of the egg. Now the outside of the egg is semi-porous. That means that actually air can go inside of the shell to the egg part. It's pretty cool. It's not completely solid. And so talk to them about the shape of the egg. When they crack it, they're going to see that there's an air cell right up here at the fat part of the egg. So when you incubate an egg, you always incubate it with the fat side up, because that way when the baby chick develops, it's going to pop through that air cell, and that gives it just enough air to give it enough breath to start pecking its way out of the shell. And so that's why you always incubate it with the fat side up and the skinny side down. Now when you incubate, the incubators actually turn like this every 3 hours. And the reason is that the mother chicken is always turning the eggs when she's sitting on them. And that just keeps it balanced and gives that movement so the chick knows that someone's up there, and it keeps everything all balanced. So as you go through your dissection of the egg, you should open up, I'll just do one. And you're going to put the, one would think I could crack an egg without making a huge mess. Okay. All right, so the first thing that I notice about this egg, you can see it's very light yellow. So this means that this chicken preferred to eat the grains that we put out instead of the bugs and the worms and the other things that are available to it. So this is a grain eater chicken. And we tend to figure out who they are and separate them because we prefer the chickens who eat the bugs and the worms and everything that's going to make their yolk so much more nutritious. Now, first of all, let's look at this shell again. Remember we said it was semi-porous, meaning that some air can get into it? Well, something else about this shell is that it is actually very soft when it's inside of the chicken. It's only when it hits air, the second it hits air, that it hardens. It's actually made out of calcium that's soft, and then it becomes hard the second it hits air. So my kids, my boys especially, will get overly where they just don't want to wait on a chicken to lay her egg, and so they'll grab it right away. And the first thing that they notice, it's very hot, it feels very warm, and then also they'll leave their fingerprints in it. And I'll say, boys, you didn't wait again, because I'll see those fingerprints, those telltale fingerprints in the eggshells. All right, so if you open it up with your class, they'll see instantly that you've got this little air sac right down there in the fat part of the shell. And then they'll notice that you've got layers to this shell. So you've got the, it's the inner membrane. I'm trying to figure out what it's the cuticula. And that's this part right here. And I think that means like a cuticle. And so I call it the inner membrane, but it's right here. And you can show them, it's kind of, it's bendable, it's flexible, and it looks like that. So that is the inner membrane of the shell. The next thing that they'll notice is the germinal sac. So you can bring this around and maybe grab out the magnifying glasses from a previous project, and you'll see that the germinal sac is just a little white dot on top of the yolk. So the yolk is the big yellow part. The germinal sac is just the little bitty dot on top of there. Now, eggs are not fertilized unless there are roosters in the barnyard. So you are not eating a baby chicken or a baby chick when you eat most eggs. It's only if they're fertilized. Okay, then the next thing you have are two different types of albumin, and thick and thin. So you can really see the difference when you just roll it around in your cup, because the thick will stay and the thin will go out. Now, albumin is used for many things in the medical world. It's actually a protein that is extremely healthy. And so, it's the white of eggs. And so the chick has 3 different types of food to eat when it's maturing, when it's growing. And so it's the yolk, which is very dense and it has a lot of cholesterol. Now, cholesterol has a really bad name to a lot of people, doesn't it? But that's not true at all. Cholesterol is what heals your body. It's what your body sends out to heal something. And it puts like a patch over it and then it heals it. Cholesterol is very important for you. So then you think, well, what is the problem where so many people have cholesterol and they say it's bad cholesterol in your arteries and things like that? Well, if cholesterol is putting something like a Band-Aid over a wound, and there are a lot of Band-Aids, so think about it as a tube and it's got a ton of Band-Aids in it, and they keep on putting more and more Band-Aids in it, maybe there's a problem with the tube and not the cholesterol. Your body is trying to fix something. So when there's an artery problem and there's a lot of cholesterol, maybe the question should be, what needs to be fixed? There are probably nicks in the artery caused by high carbohydrates or sugars that are nicking it, and then the cholesterol is going over it. So that's a long diversion, but the point is, so you don't necessarily have to tell your kids that, but the point is that that has a lot of cholesterol, but cholesterol is actually very healthy for you. And the cholesterol from free-range eggs is really particularly healthy for you. And so God has provided the baby chick with everything that it needs to eat during this period of growth. And as it's growing inside of the egg, we always think it's interesting if we happen to get an egg that we didn't realize was already growing. The eyes are the first, the head and the eyes, and the head, the eyes, the body, but the eye in particular, the eyes are very large when the chick is developing, because those are really being developed, and a lot of time, I guess, is spent on developing the eyes. And then next we have the chalaza, and for your children, the chalaza keeps the yolk in place, so it's really fun. It's like bungee cord. So have everyone in the room be like the middle part of them is a yolk, and their chalazas going around their arms are chalazas, and that's a lot of fun. So, and then you have, I guess that's it. The vitelline membrane, and that just goes around the yolk, so you can pop the yolk, and when you do that you can see that membrane. So just bring 2 or 3 eggs to class this week so you can show the students, maybe put it on a plate instead of a cup, but knowing those parts of an egg and knowing how the eggs work is really cool. So what they're going to do in class is they have these little plastic eggs, and they're going to make an egg following the directions on a little plate or a platter, or even, I think, on a sheet of paper. Yeah, on a piece of cardstock. So they'll each put one of these plastic eggs down on the cardstock and glue it on, and then they'll build around that. So this is their yolk, and then they'll take a Sharpie or a marker to make a germinal sac, make sure they have their egg sac, their chalaza, which can be string, and then they have some saran wrap that they can put over it, and then you can also have them put maybe some of their paper over the whole thing as their shell. So, so many fun things to do this week. Really talk to your children, the students, about staying in stasis for those days, and how that God was looking out for the baby chicks and their mamas, and just how much God loves them. And I really appreciate what you're doing, and I will see you next week. Thank you.